need to get the perfect podcast, but damn, where's Matt with that sample? Matt!
Alright, I've got the Buddy Shotz sample. Careful, the pH level is about 9.95.
Okay, just set it down right over there.
I'm going to get rid of these volatile DVDs, by the way. They're stinking up the joint.
Okay, well watch out. Those are a negative 9.95 object, so keep those away from the...
Whatever.
No! Dear God! No!
Oh, Mike, you're finally here. Ah, whoa! What happened? You never looked better.
Okay, it's time to put on my synthetic skin.
Sounds good.
Ah! Whoa, man.
Whoa. Nice.
Thank you.
It's Buddy Shotz time.
It is. It's Darkman time.
Darkman.
Darkman night. I guess before we get to that, though, I didn't tell you about this because I wanted to get your reaction live. But, I guess as live as a recorded thing can be. But, we now have 400 subscribers.
Wow.
On the YouTube channel. So, want to, I don't know if you have anything to say about that. To the, Buddy Shotz Nation.
That's great. Very nice. Congrats.
Very nice.
What do you have to say?
I don't know. I'm kind of blown away. We got a lot of people that watch the podcast and like us and stuff, and we've been doing this for a while now. Even back when we did it just audio only back in the day, and I never thought we'd have 400 people that would want to listen to what we had to say, but it's been fun. It's fun. So.
Of those 400, how many do you think are people who tune in and are wanting to watch the movie we talk about, expecting to see it played in full?
I assume a lot of those people aren't around anymore.
We probably wouldn't have followed if they were that disappointed.
So 400 subscribers now on the YouTube channel. That's 400 buddies in the nation. 400 people watching. 400 humans. I'd be thanking. That was horrible. I wrote that and I wrote it like right when I woke up. So
you be thanking.
I be thanking. So 500 Mile Wide Tombstone. So no, yeah, thank you.
Hello.
Say hello to Angelique. So yeah, I don't know, man. I can't. I'm happy.
Yeah,
that everybody loves it. So, but anyway, enough of that shit. It's on to Darkman Week.
What a week it's been.
Yeah, it's just like the lighting in this room. We're in the shadows for this one. Yeah, so Darkman, I don't really know what to say about this. This was an evolving project that started with just, I wanted to watch Darkman. And then I said, hey, how about we watch the unaired pilot? And then either it was after we did the last week's episode, either you texted me or maybe it was at dinner and you were like, I'm going to watch all the movies. And I was like, okay, I'll do it with you.
I said you definitely didn't have to, and I didn't expect you to.
Right,
and
but
after watching them, I feel bad that you had to.
Well, it would have been kind of pointless if we had went all this way to watch Darkman, and you suggested that you were going to watch all the movies, and only one of us did. It would be kind of like having a one-sided conversation.
Well, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. This will put the stamp on Darkman for all time on the Buddy Shotz universe.
Because on top of that, like, I watched the Red Letter Media review. I watched the AVGN game review again. Like, I went full Darkman.
I do have some information about the video game, though.
Cool.
That we can go over here. But I guess, do you just want to get into weird watches?
Yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff to cover here. So this is just like last time I had a turn up the bat. I picked something that you can watch on YouTube, but is in horrible quality and it was never actually meant to be seen. This is a 30-minute...
I would argue it never should have been seen.
Television pilot, just like my last one. Like Clerks, the pilot. It's based on Darkman. Shocking. So it was supposed to be shown on Fox. It had that feel to it for sure. It essentially retells the origins of the character with some alterations. And they have like new people playing Darkman instead of... Like there are 3 people now that have played the character.
Christopher Bowen.
Yeah. Christopher Bowen. And of course...
Larry Drake returned as Durant.
That loser.
As he did in the sequel.
Yeah.
The Return of Durant.
He's like, I can't get enough of this fucking shit.
He's like, Durant for life.
He's like, please hire me. I have nothing going on.
The amazing character of Durant has to be seen in every media platform.
Yeah, he's in the first 2 movies. He's in the pilot. So he's essentially he's interacted with every actor that's been fucking Darkman.
He's like Anthony Daniels in C-3PO. Like he won't let anyone else play the character, no matter what, even if it's in like a commercial or anything.
Yeah, horrible quality 1080i or not 1080i, 180i.
We're like 180f.
Yeah. So one of the things they change about this is that like, because we'll get into that with the movie, but in the movie, like, he just gets fucked up because by proxy, it's like they want this like thing his girlfriend has,
the memorandum.
Yeah, but in this, they came for his like formula for synthetic skin.
Yeah,
I was like, what? And I was like, Kenny, I was like, not true.
Like, yeah, I mean, there's worse things in this show, just to generalize about it, but like it was pretty ill thought out because basically, how could you make a series out of this movie? Like, I guess they did the best they could, but they basically just recreated the movie for the pilot episode, and then like, what were you gonna do after that?
It's just like a worse version. Yeah. I argue like you definitely could make a series out of this show, but like I agree the way they did it was like so.
He basically was going to become the equalizer,
right?
And help people out with his Darkman skills.
Essentially, it's like it's not like a formula that's a bad idea. Like essentially, it's like you just take like the A-Team and like just do that shit every week.
Yeah,
and like because like the for my thing, like when we talk about the two movies briefly, I guess that are after the first movie, or however long we spend on it, but like. I feel that you could have made those 2 like the first 2 episodes in like a television series. Not saying it would have been awesome, but it's like leagues above quality wise what this shit was. This was like just bad. I will say one thing that like kind of persists across all Darkman TV and movies is they use the hell out of the the Darkman Danny Elfman theme.
Paging Dr. Freud. Freudian slip there. Because they're the exact same thing.
Yeah. So, like... Yeah, another thing that's different is his girlfriend dies in the explosion, so they kind of, like, say, oh, this character... You know, taking out all sense of character turmoil was just gone. Darkman lectures some random homeless kid, which I thought was kind of funny.
There's one user review on IMDb, and it just says...
Was it by you?
It says, it was pretty foul, but it had potential to get better. That pretty much sums it up, man.
It was pretty foul. Honestly, their biggest mistake was, like... Just, in my opinion, like... They tried to, like, just retell everything when they could have just... use clips from the first movie and then just...
Which they also did.
Right. But which everything did.
Yeah.
So... one of my only real notes about this pilot is Darkman goes in to kill Durant and he goes in like the Hamburglar and he's wearing like a mask, like an eye mask. And then he, like, goes to give this Durant, like, this little coffin, like he's a magician. And he's, like, he just gives it to somebody else, and he's like, no, it's not for anybody but you. And I'm like... like he's like the worst.
This plan had no chance of like working.
And when the dude opens it up, it just kills the dude that opens it. Like a dart hits him in the head and he's dead. And I'm like,
I can't believe it didn't hit him in the neck.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of surprised, like you said, it's like what was the plan here? Like, so yeah,
like why, like Seth Green said, why didn't he just shoot him?
Yeah,
like, he accomplished the same thing,
right? Because then he has his
I have a gun in my rib,
and he just rips it off. He rips off his face, and he's like, "Wow!" So this is totally. If you've ever seen like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or like Beetleborgs, like something Fox put on back in the day, this is like a couple leagues above that as far as like maturity.
Yeah,
because like it's so like even at the end of the episode, he like makes friends with this like homeless like inner city youth that he's gonna like. He's like, I just want to be your friend, Darkman. I'm
like nice shoehorning.
I was like, this is gonna be shit. But yeah,
I'm glad we watched it, but it was it didn't have much of a chance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Of, like, success. So
I just have one more thing to say about it. Darkman turns into Austin Powers when he talks about the homeless. He says, "Homeless, we call them the residentially challenged, baby." Yeah. I was like, because one thing that's really weird is Darkman goes from Liam Neeson, who has like a very distinguished voice, doing a bad American accent in the first film, to they just say, fuck that, these guys can't even do that, and they just make him an English person.
Yeah.
So like in the pilot and in the subsequent movies, he just has like an English accent, which is like, why didn't they just do that from the beginning?
Yeah.
So I say we talk about the Darkman video games. Do you have anything stick out to you from the AVGN episode?
No, it just looked really frustrating.
Yeah.
I've never played it back in the day. Did you?
I didn't back in the day. I remember like playing it a couple years ago and giving up on it like instantly. It was like The Loop in the Third, like one of the Super Nintendo games where it's like, dude, this is fucking bullshit. Like, you want to play the game because it's awesome. You know,
yeah,
you
the
like
controls,
the source material, but
yeah, like the play control was really, really bad, but the graphics and sound were cool.
Yeah. So a little info about this. It was made by Ocean Software.
Ocean?
Are you gonna take a Darkman after the feckin' ocean? Where does Durant go? After the ocean. So we've got an NES version, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, and it also came out on the Amiga, the CPC, and Atari ST. And it also came out on Game Boy, and it's loosely based on the game of the same name. But like we said, it's one of those games like Dick Tracy where it's just like, fuck this. Like, just watch AVGN. Like, we're just going to say, you know, watch that. That's the best you can do anyway, because it's going to be... It'll get you everything you need to know about it, and it'll be funnier than trying to play the game and get any sort of entertainment value. Because you'll just be pissed.
Yeah. I always did like video game tie-ins with movies, but they were rarely good. So
yeah, the only one I can really even think of was GoldenEye, Discover the Game. I'm sure there are others, but I think they're probably...
I just got the Demolition Man one at the...
Demolition
Man! And that's unplayable, dude.
Was the game a 3-line whip?
It whipped the llama's ass.
I should have given that movie a 9.95.
You didn't?
I might have, actually.
Yeah.
But if I didn't...
See our previous episode.
I'm revising
and go edit it.
I'm like, man, I fucking hate this movie. I'm giving this movie a 9.95. But Demolition Man. So every time you cuss, just like a little ticket will print out. You're gonna wipe your ass. So, on to the feature presentation, unless you have anything else to say.
No, we've already said too much.
Or not enough. But the question is, are you ready for Darkman 1?
Darkman 1!
Take 1. Action. So, Darkman, this came out in 1990. American superhero film. And it's directed by Sam Raimi, who also co-wrote it. it's also based on a short story by Sam Raimi because he wanted to like use like another superhero that was back in the day. Like I forget what it was called, like Grey Ghost or something. But it was like an older hero who's in like chains or trench coat, not chains. What the fuck? Those are a little different.
Chain Man.
Yeah, he's like fucking Jacob Marley over here. Or is it Bob Marley? Which one's the one that's like the ghost?
Jacob.
Oh, okay. I always get those two confused.
They could not be more different.
That's true. So
you're telling me Sam Raimi came up with an original story by himself and directed the movie, and it was great?
Shocking.
What? Wow.
I think the only thing
you're allowed to do that.
The only thing he's directed that wasn't original was, well, I'm sure he's done stuff that wasn't original, but like. I know he did the Spider-Man films. Obviously, that's based on like a franchise and stuff. But yeah, this is something he made by him, that he wanted to make because he couldn't get the rights to something else. But who are the stars? We've got Liam Neeson as scientist Peyton Westlake, who is brutally attacked, disfigured, and left for dead by ruthless mobster Robert Durant, Larry Drake. After his girlfriend attorney Julie Hastings, Frances McDormand, runs afoul of corrupt developer Louis Strack Jr., Colin Friels.
LSJ.
Yep. After a treatment to cure him of his burn injuries fails, Westlake develops superhuman abilities, which also have the unintended side effect of rendering him mentally unstable and borderline psychotic. Consumed with vengeance, he decides to hunt down those who disfigured him. Oh, let's get ready to rumble! So yeah, that's
sounds like a great premise. I'm in.
Yeah, that's the rundown. And it's also Walking Tall. So, I do have a question for you. I might have missed this in the TV show and all three movies. But, like, did they explain how he can replicate people's voices perfectly?
No.
Because he does it in all of them, and, like, I'm like...
Just don't think about it, too.
Well, I was just wondering, do you remember them explaining that?
No, and honestly, I never even thought about that till now, which tells you something. But that's a very good point.
So, they use this intro in all three. The fog effect that I can see where they edited and doubled it over. So, if you like good fog effects, this ain't one of them, but it's in the beginning.
You get to see it 3 times.
It's essentially take the Batman intro and make it shit. Because it's essentially the Batman theme song with, like, just boring text.
I love Danny Elfman, but, like, this was self-plagiarism.
He's like, copy-paste. Yeah. It's like, I'm starting to dock this guy points. Every time we watch a Danny Elfman film, it's like...
When you pump out, like, 30 scores a year, it's like, maybe do half that and spend a little bit more time making them sound different.
Maybe don't suck. Maybe just don't make them all sound like Batman. I don't know why. One of the notes I have here is, "'Cause he's an asshole, tell him fuck you." I guess that's one of the guys said that.
There you go. But what were your general thoughts on Darkman? Because this is the first time you'd seen it, right?
Yes. So general thoughts were, okay, so like just Darkman itself, the first film, I think deserves like way more praise if it's not given enough, like a lot, because I think like alone this first movie is really awesome. Like I liked it.
It's great.
Yeah. It's got the right tone. It's got the right like amount of action, the right amount of like, you know, grotesque stuff, but it doesn't trend so far that it's like body, like this is like Cronenberg, where it's like this is unnecessary. It's good. It's like you take like, you know, essentially, kind of like those old like pulp novels of like black and white dudes in the shadows with like a brimmed hat and like a, you know, the trench coat and stuff with the guns and stuff, and they're like superheroes and crap, and it's like The Spirit or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's like takes a little bit of a spin because the whole hook is he can only like be out for like 90 minutes because his mask that he puts on only lasts for 90 minutes, which is like his weakness, because he's become like super strong and can't feel pain and stuff. So I thought it was cool. I thought it was great. I liked how in this first one they had like Durant was in it, but he was like, he's kind of like the guy that's underneath the real bad guy.
He's the Darth Vader to the Emperor.
Right. So overall, I was pleased with this first film.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
I watched the first 3 Evil Dead movies again this year because I hadn't seen them in like 20 years.
Yeah.
And between that and watching Darkman, like Sam Raimi is a hero.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Like he invented his own style.
Yeah. And
he's super like clever and unique, and I love him.
I still like his first like 2 Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
I think they're awesome. I think it's like, especially the second one, it's like, I think the first one had some hiccups, but I think the second one was like, it's like a perfect Superman film or superhero film. It's just really good. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Good job, Mr. Raimi. I'll always have a soft spot for him. It's funny because I think in the second film, one of the people, I think it was like Xena's like sidekick shows up as like the sister or whatever, and I can't remember what the actress's name is, but she's essentially like Xena's like girl sidekick or whatever. But I was like, it's someone that worked with Sam Raimi, so I was like, okay,
that's cool.
You know, I'm actually kind of surprised like Bruce Campbell didn't show up in a leading role or something in this film, but he did. I guess he shows up at the very end of this film.
Well, Sam Raimi wanted him to be Darkman, and the studio shut him down.
Poo-pooed it.
Yep, which is unfortunate because as much as I think Liam Neeson is really good in this movie,
Bruce Campbell would have probably came back for the sequels.
He'd have been a great Darkman.
I don't know if he would have been better, but
yeah, it's hard to argue because, like I said, Liam Neeson was awesome in this.
But it's like also like looking back,
it would have been a lot different.
Yeah, looking back, it probably would have been more comedic. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. But at the same time, like they probably wouldn't have had any issues getting him to come back for supposed sequels. But I'm not really sure upon watching the second and third films, like once we get into those, if these really needed to happen, at least the way they did, because these were like direct to videos. So.
Mm-hmm. The cash grab.
Yeah, which Sam Raimi was like involved as executive producer, but he had like no.
Yeah.
Like
he's like, I'll take a paycheck, please.
Yeah, it was like the Michael Bay Transformers deal, where I don't think he's involved, but he's like executive producer on all of these now. So
you like Liam Neeson in this movie?
Yeah, I thought his acting was like out of control. Like he did a ridiculous job of. I've never seen him act like this in a film before. Like he's
very big,
super serious, or he's usually stoic or like angry and like he's a badass. Especially now that he's done like what's it called, like the
Taken.
Yeah, Taken, and he's stoic in like The Phantom Menace and in like other films. But like in this, it's like he's in certain scenes he's so over the top. It's like. It's shocking to see him act like this, but it's very cool to see him act like this.
I agree. It's
a
great
facial
character.
Expressions you like could never see him make.
There's like a huge range of emotions because he gets to like once he becomes Darkman, he's like full of rage and sadness. Yeah. But like at the beginning, he's just like a goofy guy who likes hanging out with his girlfriend, like goofing around.
Yeah, he's like
he's like just a nice guy.
Yeah, but
like happy-go-lucky.
So
until he gets super killed,
somehow survives. So usually like the ridiculous stuff's in the sequels, but there was like some funny stuff in this first movie that I was kind of like, like dudes get patted down and like guns and brass knuckles, and then like some dude just brought nunchucks, and I was like, come on, like
you brought nunchucks to a gangland war?
Yeah. Also, I'd say this is probably the most number of henchmen I've seen like in a movie ever. Like, just
I like any movie that starts with
scene.
a bunch of henchmen killing each other.
Except for maybe like like Turtles 1 or whatever, where like all the foot soldiers are up on the balconies and shit.
Did you notice that the main dude on one of the gangs was the dude from Prince of Darkness?
Which dude?
Like the guy who gets possessed and starts singing Amazing Grace in Prince of Darkness.
Okay.
I always like to see him. I forget his name, but I'll look it up.
There was this is definitely like a scene of convenience here, because like one dude with a machine gun leg essentially turns the tide in like a 400-on-1 odds fight. This is like Dynasty Warriors over here. There's like 8 dudes and they take out like 400 guys. Yeah. And it's, you don't really see them die. It's just, it cuts to the next scene and like they've captured like the main other guy, which the guy, like that's the guy I think you said that was like he's a black actor, and he was the dude that was like kind of like,
yeah, Jesse Ferguson.
Yeah, he's like kind of crying, like laughing when he's possessed or whatever. Yeah, scary stuff. But Durant starts cutting off his fingers with a very sharp cigar cutter.
That thing must have been stainless steel.
Yeah. Every time
that was a good touch.
Yeah, not for them.
They can't touch anything anymore.
Yeah, I think he made his point. But regardless, do you think you could actually like cut my finger off with a cigar cutter?
Not a normal one that you get at a like a cheap.
You're right. It would have
50-cent one.
A pretty sturdy one, and you'd probably.
No, let's try it. I'll go. I do have a stainless.
Durant 316 said, "I just took your fingers, butch." It's like, what? We already talked about how I got Batman vibes from Danny Elfman, but who doesn't? Who among us hasn't gotten
Darkman,
vibes?
But Elfman?
Yeah, Elfman. He's like, okay, another note about, holy crap, exact same soundtrack as Batman. This is pretty cool. They're like 3D printing prosthetics, which is like, this is way ahead of anything obviously 3D printed now, but it was like they're 3D printing stuff in this movie in the 90s, and I was like, dude, this is, well, obviously it's like science fiction, but it became science fact. But it was cool to see that. So I guess we'll talk about Liam Neeson. He's doing like kind of an American accent, but it kind of like sometimes fades, but
yeah,
it's a shame because he has such a recognizable voice. Like I don't really understand why they decided to make him do that accent.
I know. I always hate that in movies. Like, just have them do their regular accent. Like Arnold. Who cares? Yeah. You know. He's a perfect example.
All the times he's done the accents.
Yeah.
or all the times he's actually been doing that accent his whole life. It's not his real voice.
In Collateral Damage, when he played American fireman Gordy Brewer, he has a German accent, and no one, or Austrian.
Austrian. Well, that's the thing, is like Americans are from all over the place.
That's true. So since we already talked about him so much and he's such a huge part of the series, what did you think of Durant, Larry Drake as Durant?
I thought he was like okay in this first film, but in the sequel he's like dog shit. Like,
he's fine.
He's like, every time I see a villain like this, I'm just like, fuck this. Where's Terry Silver? Like,
no kidding. Oh, dude.
Like,
he'd have been a great Durant.
Just get fucking Thomas Ian in the fucking shit and call it a day, man. Like, he's way better than this fucking guy. I'm not trying to slam on this dude, but like, he just didn't bring anything for me. Like, he had like an interesting thing in this first film, but like, he was like he was just like a fucking gear.
The boss of the henchmen.
Yeah. He wasn't like, they acted like he was like the biggest badass ever.
Yeah.
When
you get name dropped in the name of the sequel,
yeah,
like, you better be bringing it.
Right. Also, it would have made more sense if he came back in the third film, because he just straight up, he's like, I'm finally back. Okay, literally, you were just in the last fucking film. Also, we should talk about, I guess, maybe, because I don't think I have a note about it, but like, he fucking gets like crushed and exploded in a fucking helicopter, and like, he doesn't have any Like, he's not fucked up.
That's pretty silly.
So Liam Neeson says, come here, I know what's on your mind. Like, before they're about to have sex. Either the dialogue or the way it was delivered was a little shaky. But what is it about the dark? What secrets does it hold? Another funny dialogue. So Liam Neeson gets his ass beat for like a good while.
This reminded me of RoboCop.
Yes.
By like how brutally he was murdered.
Yes.
I'm like, good lord, dude.
Well,
because he gets like beat up, electrocuted, his head put in acid or like boiling something, and then he gets turned into a human missile.
The funny thing
he gets killed like, 5 times over.
The shocking part was like his fault because he tried to like stop himself from going in there. Not like I'm like, oh, blame the victim, but he flips out when they like kill his lab assistant. He's like, wrong day, wrong fucking place, and he gets this fucking capped. It was like, also like one of the henchmen is, I think he's the first dude that gets killed is Ted Raimi.
Yeah,
which I was like,
always good to see him.
It's nice that at least he got in the film. It kind of sucks that at least Bruce Campbell didn't have like some sort of henchman role in this because, like we said earlier, like he is in the film, but he's the last person I think that Darkman turns into at the very end of the film when he's walking away. You see him for like half a second.
Yeah.
So.
Since you mentioned Ted Raimi, the one thing that the Red Letter Media review pointed out that I thought was interesting is they thought that like there was some weird dynamic between him and Durant in this movie. Like maybe they may be lovers or something, because they have some weird interactions where he's like, "Can I get you a martini?" He's like, "I'd love one," and he's like, Durant is kind of grooming Ted Raimi because he makes him kill the first dude to like break him in and stuff. But I just thought I didn't really notice that during the movie, but after thinking about it, I'm like, something interesting.
Huh? Yeah, I haven't really watched any Red Letter Media. After they burned
You're holding a grudge.
Yeah. Unsubscribed. I'll just say that.
So one of Darkman's...
I didn't really think about it, I guess, but yeah.
I didn't either. I just... there was something weird there. But I wanted to ask you, one of Darkman's powers is that he can't feel pain.
Right.
Just like your favorite Bond villain from The World Is Not Enough.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a good movie, unlike that movie, so... I give it leeway. That actually is used in like a good way. It wasn't used in a stupid way.
They use it in a sleazy way.
He's like, we made a Bond movie today. Yeah, but you did it in a sleazy way. You can't feel pain in a sleazy way. He's like slithering around. So he gets his ass.
2 shots in the dark, now Bond is dead.
One poison, one fucking missile in the ass, now Bond is dead. So they toxic vat his ass. And he got blowed up. Fucking Ernest style.
That was definitely an LOL for me.
Yeah.
So over the top, it was
I'm laughing. Oh, you're like, lots of love. So yeah, at 20 minutes and 31 seconds, the funniest thing I've ever seen in a film to this point, possibly. He goes rocketing on fire into the water, like
he gets launched like thousands of feet into the air. It's awesome.
He's like, ah! I'm like, eh.
And I thought it was really cool how Frances McDormand like merged into her funeral attire. Yeah. I was like, dude, Sam Raimi is just like, he does stuff no one else does.
Yeah,
which is great. He's the master style man.
He's a filmmaker. He's just not like a film printer.
Yeah, and did you watch the Siskel and Ebert review of this movie?
No, I don't. I generally don't watch other people's opinions of stuff, but
I always like to see what they have to say. But Ebert liked Darkman, and Siskel loved Darkman, so they were both 2 thumbs up. But they said like Sam Raimi's the star of the show, basically.
Yeah. He's like on film. Check it out.
He's like, make a selection. But Ebert's criticism was like he didn't think the character of Darkman was that great, but Siskel was like, oh, I loved it. I thought it was very interesting character.
Yeah.
So
he's like, you're making me Raimi.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Nice.
I think that like the character is very brooding, so it's like, and I think there's a lot there to explore. It's just it was completely somewhat botched in the sequels, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which this movie could definitely have been like a huge deal, like with sequels and stuff, but
the potential was there.
Yes.
But also on the flip side, it tells a good story from start to finish.
Right.
And it's satisfying in its own right.
It leaves it open for more.
It does.
Yeah, which is good. But it's like, yeah. So
there was one funnier thing I think that happened in this movie later that we'll talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure. Printing new skin. He kills the fuck out of Ted Raimi. His head gets like crushed.
That was so funny.
Yeah,
like it even plays like the cartoon squish sound.
I was like,
it was awesome. But when he's in like the burn ward or whatever, I thought the dialogue was so funny because the nurse was like, "Without modern advances in science, this man would have spent the rest of his life screaming." Amazing line. That's so funny.
I don't think it was intended to be funny, which is
I totally do. I think that's just a hilarious line of dialogue.
I don't think it was intended to be funny.
Why not?
Because it just, the way it was delivered, it was like, she was like horrified. But regardless, it was.
Yeah. Did you notice that was the Jenny Agutter, who was the nurse and girlfriend in American Werewolf in London?
Ah, a movie I haven't seen in
a long time.
So, why do they have a fucking Adam West Batman thing they've got him on where he's spinning?
I don't know.
Like, okay, so this guy's being like tortured. Like, thought that was so fucking ridiculous. He's like being turned the whole time.
What did you think when she said, "I give him a 9 on the buzzard scale"?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fucking weird for a doctor to say about someone they were trying to save. I was like...
I'd give him a 9.95.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9. I'd give it a 9.95. Put that buzzard in fucking flight. He's like... Woo. He's like, I'm hunting for a corpse to prey on. Prey on, like, as opposed to a corpse, it's like, I'm fighting back.
He was eating like dogs.
It's like... He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of roadkill skunk.
One other little thing I noticed. Did you notice who the gravedigger was at the cemetery?
You're like Bruce Campbell.
It was Teehee from Live and Let Die. Julius Harris.
He wasn't blown up.
Your favorite Bond film.
It was Polly.
I was like, dude.
He's like, he's dead. He's busted. He's not a virgin. Speaking of Polly, Polly gets killed by him when he's like using his skin or whatever. That becomes like a reoccurring thing for Darkman. He's like Mission Impossible style over here. He's like essentially sets people up and gets them killed or kills them himself with like becoming them, which I was like very cool for an idea for. It's like almost like this could have been like, you could have gone either way. You could have made this guy be like a Bond kind of character. It's like, it's got everything. It's really cool.
Yeah, like all of his powers are cool. Like just one of them by itself would have been cool enough. But like he can mimic people, since he can't feel pain, and because of that, his emotions become like out of control.
Yeah,
it's just like very clever.
And he also like is a science. He's like a
super smart scientist.
Right.
Yeah.
So, he flips out when they're like only $5 to see the dancing freak. Or no, wait, he says that to the fucking rat. I think I was confusing that when they go to the carnival later.
Yeah.
He like flips out, but like he flips out here because like there's a cat there, and like once again his stuff isn't working. So he's like he's trying to perfect his formula, and that's an ongoing thing even in the sequels, that like he's trying to pass the 90-minute barrier.
And he, even after he does it, like he just starts doing it again.
Yeah.
Didn't you already figure this out in the last movie, dude?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, what happens in all these films is, like, he'll figure it out, but then, like, the research, like, gets blown up or something.
Or stolen.
Yeah. And he didn't make a copy or something, so it's like... So it's like I could see how this could have been like a TV show that could have just gone on forever because it was like essentially like the way they did it with the movies was like, like come on, it's like the ultimate tease.
It reminds me of that movie Medicine Man with Sean Connery. You remember that? He's like, I found the cure for cancer.
Is that when he's like out in the rainforest?
Yeah. Like, you lost it, dude?
He's like, Demolition Man. He's out in the fucking rainforest being a dumbass.
Medicine Man v. Demolition Man. Whoever wins, we lose.
Whoever wins, they both lost the cure for cancer. I wonder if they cured cancer in like the future in Demolition Man. Maybe.
Good question.
So Liam is acting out of control. And we will say that that is true because he is, just out of control. So he reunites with his girlfriend. There's a lot of like him like not telling her the truth in this, and then when she finally finds out, he like it's just the scene ends for some reason.
It's like almost sitcom level.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like that's really one of my only gripes is like I don't know if that was just like they forgot to film those scenes or like Sam Raimi just forgot to write that, but like there's a part later on where like she's like, I don't care, take off the mask so I can see you, and she's literally right there, and then it just cuts to the next scene when she's in her office and it's like so she just left, like what the fuck.
I really like Frances McDormand in general. She's great, multiple Oscar winner. But I'd say my biggest complaint about this movie is like the main bad dude is like very generic and his plan is not interesting, and like some of the scenes I'm like, who cares about this guy? Like
that's pretty much all the sequels too. Like
but that's a nitpick.
They try to be these bad guy corporate dudes, and it's like none of them can hold a candle to fucking Terrence Silver.
Agreed. He's the gold standard, or should I say silver standard?
He's the platinum. So we got he goes nuts at the carnival scene.
That was the funniest part when he breaks the dude's fingers. I want the
pink elephant. And they alter his voice so he sounds like fucking like a Sith.
He's like,
yeah, he like breaks it.
And the guy's like, ah!
He's like, yo.
They all three scream at the same time, like him, his girlfriend, and the dude. And it's so
like,
funny.
Oh.
But I wanted to ask you, have you ever gone to a freak show?
I know there's a joke there somewhere, but
that's probably not a politically correct thing to say anymore.
I didn't even know those existed anymore, so I don't think so.
I went to one. We went to like a fair.
You're like, I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, yo, mama's so fat.
No, so you went to a show.
As a kid, we went to
like
the fair or a county fair or something, and they had like see a real life mermaid if you pay $5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like that was the first time I ever saw it.
Was it like Fiji Mermaid where it was like a stitched together like
no,
or?
It was a woman who was behind glass and like there was a painting in front of her lower half. But she was topless, and that was the first time I ever saw like real nudity in real life. And I was like, whoa! Yeah. And my dad was like, did you see the look on her face? Like she knew she was getting away with like fooling people. She was like, tee.
Your dad.
And I'm like, what do you think you're gonna see a real mermaid?
Your dad's like, of course, can you believe this bullshit? And you're like, eh. He's like, we're up for these believe it or get fucked. You're like,
but that was quite an experiance.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to carnivals before, but never one that like still had like, I mean, like that was that was just kind of like a Ripley's kind of deal where like you said where it's like funny or something like. I've never been to a place where they were like extorting like, a dwarf or a little person or something and like, hitting him or something, for political or
for political reasons. I want to hit this dwarf for political reasons.
Like a monetary gain. Like, whoosh, that's the president. So, but yeah, this is also cool because when he goes nuts in this movie, sometimes it'll like zoom into his face and then the background like splinters away like in real time. It's like really cool.
You're seeing like his mind like break apart basically.
It reminds me of like when in Spider-Man 2 when like Alfred Molina finally wakes up as like Dr. Octopus and like the chip has like busted, so like
he's busted.
He's busted. He's not a scientist anymore. He's busted.
He's not an octopus.
But he's kind of goes nuts, and it kind of turns. It does all these ridiculous like camera angles and zoom ins, and it turns into like a horror show because like the tentacles kill all these people, and it's like just that's Sam Raimi. He's just he thinks like, well, we could just film it like this, but let's put some horror into this superhero movie, like just this one little part, and it's like, dude, that just changed the whole dynamic. Mm-hmm. So this movie kind of reminds me of The Crow, at least a little bit, with like the dynamic of the dark brooding and the revenge, and like the only difference is like the girlfriend is alive. It's not like she was like sexually molested and then killed, which is good. So this is the part I was talking about where she's like, you don't have to hide from me anymore, and then she just leaves.
Yeah.
My note says, huh?
You think they could have like resolved something at that point, but no.
It just from like a scene, a character, in every standpoint, it doesn't add up. It's like 1 + 1 = 10. I was like, huh? So yeah, I didn't get it. So I kind of stopped taking notes because I was just watching the film.
Yeah, I mean,
I really like it.
At this point, like, I was loving the movie.
There's some cool like action on a helicopter.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, the helicopter action scene at the end of this movie is like one of the best action sequences of the 90s.
Literally a dude.
It was unbelievable.
A wire, and I was like, I think this is the most shocking thing I've ever seen in a film.
It's spectacular.
Yes, just like Spider-Man.
But it also mixes in like cartoonish touches, like where he runs over the top of the bus, like Wile E. Coyote style.
Yeah, it's like almost Jackie Chan. Yeah. It's like Buster
it was
Keaton,
amazing.
Jackie Chan. I was just like,
this is already an A, and it's now an A+. Like,
yeah,
that ending is it must be seen to be believed.
Because we're liars.
Like, it's some jaw-dropping stunt work.
Yeah, I was like, so the way Durant just gets crushed is hilarious.
Yeah.
But he shows up in the sequel, so. But it's funny because, like, it's like literally like.
They run the helicopter into, like, an overpass.
Yeah, what does he say? He's like, fuck you, Durant, or, like,
I don't remember.
Blow me. Or, I don't think he says that. But, it's just, it's like something, but, then
he's like, you won't be returning, Durant.
Yeah, he's like, you won't be in a sequel. I won't be in. And he's like, you bet, motherfucker. So then we kind of get to the climax of this film with like
helicopter antics.
The main bad guy. What's his name? I forget what his name is, but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but he's like the guy that's not only like
Louis Strack Jr.
Louis Strack Jr. But he's not only in charge of like this whole operation and having Durant kill, him, but he has been trying to get with his wife. And he says, she's like, I'm done with this. I don't want to fuck you no more. And he's like, I'm still with this dude, and he's still alive and stuff. And then like he essentially like kidnaps her, and it's just like, come after me. Darkman.
And then that's another cool action scene on like the unfinished building. I thought it was really awesome.
Yeah. When he kills the main bad guy, he's like, he drops him. He's like, you're not going to be able to live with this if you kill me. And he drops him to his death, and he's like, I'm learning to live with a lot of things. And I was like, dude, this is so cool.
Cisco style.
Come on. Yeah. He's like, great. Delete movie. And I'm like, wait, no! At the end, he's like, I'm everyone and no one, everywhere and nowhere. Call me Darkman. And I was like, dude, this is so fucking cool.
Bruce Campbell does get a nice little
cameo at the end
shot.
As Darkman. He's like,
that was a great ending.
Freeze frame. Dun, 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 and they play bloopers, and I'm like, fuck. Great film, great ending.
Loved it. It was awesome.
I guess we should rate this first film before we move on to Darkman 2, The Return of Durant.
I'm going to go 8.95.
Nice. Holy shit. You didn't do your usual 7.
This is definitely above average.
That's true.
Everyone should
Even
see
though 7.95 is not average on our scale.
Well, I say average because like I like most every movie. So.
Yeah, well, you usually are just like 7.95, 7.95.
But it's awesome. Like it's pure entertainment.
Yeah,
and it's just great.
Yeah, and this could have been like the next Batman series.
Yeah,
like Michael Keaton style. 9.95.
Cool.
Not one flaw. Actually, there probably is, but
yeah, that's only our couple nitpicks are what's holding it back for me for being a 9.95. But that's very minor.
Flaws don't stop me from giving perfect
that's fair.
Scores.
That's fair.
Thank you. And Liam Neeson went to a fair and got pissed.
I think for the sequels, we should just like give our general thoughts. Maybe some things we liked and didn't like. But
yeah, I'll go over kind of like I'll go over like the synopsis for it. Like so, like in the sequel, Liam Neeson does not return for either of these sequels. They replaced him with the guy that plays the main bad guy in the Mummy movies,
Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah.
And he also plays the main henchman in Hard Target,
nice.
Which is my favorite.
He does a good job. I think
he's fine.
I think like he's a perfectly fine actor. Yep. I don't have any problems with him at all. Like, playing Darkman.
He's not as good as Liam Neeson's, but
he's
good.
I think regardless if it was filmed the way this was filmed and like with so little care, Liam Neeson probably wouldn't have been able to do shit with this. This looks like it's so cheap looking.
Yeah. These are cheap, generic, bland, boring sequels, basically.
So, like, the sequel, the first one is called The Return of Durant. So this came straight to fucking video. Directed by someone named Bradford May. So Sam Raimi is only on these as, like, executive producer for the next two. And as we talked about, Arnold Vosloo is now Darkman. But we've got Larry Drake reprising his role as Robert G. Durant. It was followed by the third installment in the trilogy Darkman 3 called Die, Darkman, Die, also starring Vosloo. So,
which I actually like better. I like the third one a lot more than the second one.
Yeah, they're both just kind of like okay episodes of a TV show.
But the second one, like, it just tells the same story as the first movie over again.
Yeah.
Like, he befriends another scientist, works on the same formula. Durant comes in and messes him up again.
The only thing that's different about this is, like, there's a scientist that actually was able to, like, kind of maybe, like, he cracked the barrier.
Yeah.
And, like, that was the whole hook. That's why, after watching all three of these, I was like, this could have been one episode of a show because this felt so episodic. Like, he finally found somebody that, like, his outlook broke the 99-minute barrier on the, like, formula that he could stay out with. And he was like, holy shit, this is great. But then he gets killed by Durant. And, like, that could have been an episode on its own or something. Like, maybe on a TV show they wouldn't have done that. But like, the whole thing about this is, like, here's a synopsis. Darkman and Durant return, and they hate each other as much as ever.
Great start.
I got this on IMDb. I was like, I want to find the stupidest. This time, Durant has plans to take over the city's drug trade using high-tech weaponry. Darkman must step in and try to stop Durant once and for all, alongside a scientist that is able to break the 90-minute barrier on the skin mask. So, that's essentially the whole plot of this. They have some weird thing where, like, they, for whatever reason, reshoot some intro scenes with Arnold Vosloo, but then they keep one scene that's clearly Liam Neeson, like, with his head getting dunked, and then they obviously keep the scene where he gets blown up, but they just redub it with the new dude. And like we said earlier, like, he just kind of has an English accent from this point forward, even in, like, the show. There was some talk about, like, I guess Durant's been, like, in a coma for, like, 2 years, and I was just like, they act like, oh, he's back. Like, dude, who gives a flying fuck about this guy?
Somehow
like,
Durant has returned.
Yeah, it's like, who gives a shit?
They hate each other as much as ever. That's funny.
Which is like, why would they hate each other less? Like, how does that make sense?
Like, they like each other now.
Yeah, like, fucking you...
That text you sent me cracked me up. Like, keep Darkman's name out Durant. I'm going.
Should have kept Durant out of the fucking films. There's a funny part in this film, though, where a dummy goes off the skyscraper in a golf cart.
I enjoyed that. That was my favorite shot of the whole movie.
Yelling no in ADR.
That's probably the only thing I'll remember from this movie.
Yeah.
Is that golf cart.
At the end, so, not like you'd really want to watch this anyway, but I'll tell you how it ends. Fucking Durant gets his ass blown up with a radio-controlled rat that they set up in the beginning of the film that I was barely paying attention to about.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry. Don't worry. He doesn't say don't worry. He says, watch out, he bites. And then fucking he's like, you son of a bitch! And then fucking he blows him up in his car. So,
if he could return from the helicopter explosion, why couldn't he return from a car explosion?
Yeah, he's like more powerful than fucking Darkman. It's like, fuck off. Movie definitely a step down for Darkman 1.
But then we take a swing up in Darkman 3. Die, Darkman, die. At least according to me. I enjoy this one quite a bit more. It's not good, but...
Yeah, they're both pretty shit.
So this one...
Go ahead.
I liked it because I thought... It's a good poster. Just get that framed.
Yeah.
I thought Jeff Fahey was a better villain than Durant. I liked him a lot in this movie, and basically my favorite scene is where he gets surprised while skulking around Rooker's house with a surprise party, and he basically has to pretend to be the villain.
The villain, yeah.
In front of his friends and family and stuff. I thought that was a very cool scene. I really enjoyed that. Arnold Vosloo's barely even in this movie. It's basically the Jeff Fahey show. I don't think that this
movie really is that great. I think the only reason this movie should get any praise is because it does something that Darkman 2 doesn't do. Like, it's not like...
It doesn't tell the same story over again. Yeah.
That's not really praise. That's just... They did something different.
Yeah. They basically kidnap Darkman, and they want to use his powers to create, super thugs or something.
Yeah, they, do, the Turtles thing, right, where they try to create a bunch of, Bebop and Rocksteadies, but then they just get reamed anyway,
yeah.
So I don't really understand the point of that.
And he has to get revenge and retrieve his formula. It's cool to see Roxanne Dawson in a movie, a.k.a. B'Elanna Torres from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Or Voyager, I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say. So when he double-crosses a drug kingpin, Darkman must free himself of his remote-control clutches. Which happens, that's only 1 second of the movie, so I don't know why that's...
Yeah, that's the opening act.
Yeah, this movie's they reuse footage as well. Yeah. I have
what did you think of Jeff Fahey as Rooker? Because he's basically the lead.
Who's he, the bad guy?
Yeah.
He's okay.
I liked him.
I thought he didn't do anything different than Durant. It was just these guys were just kind of not super... It's this guy, the Durant guy, and the other, the main guy in the first film. It's just I would just watch it, and the whole time I was just this should just be Thomas Ian Griffin or fucking Creed.
Yeah,
this fucking sucks.
In Darkman 3, at least, he plays the evil villain, and he also plays a lot of Darkman impersonating the villain. So there's some difference there, which I liked. That's the thing I liked about this movie.
So, yeah, I only have 4 notes here. Urban Bigfoot sparks debate. That was one of the things they had. Reusing of footage.
Urban Bigfoot.
Kids dying of roid rage Benoit style. And voiceover ending. Yeah, that was something that was kind of weird. Darkman kind of cucks this dude's family at the end.
Yeah. He basically falls in love with his wife and child.
But and she's fine with him how he looks. But then an ending at the fucking end of the thing is even though I was super close to her, I was miles away, and it was
huh?
What? So
they walk back the whole movie.
The praise that you can give for this film, this should have been the second film, honestly.
Yeah.
And if they made a third one, it should have been something completely different, because the whole
Live Darkman Live.
the Durant thing was dog shit.
Yeah.
I think the Durant thing tainted it for me, so when I watched the third film, I was just oh Christ, thank God Durant's not in this. But by this point the quality was in the gutter, so it was just watching just one of the billions of fucking Highlander sequels. bunch of stuff filmed in like warehouses and shit that they probably snuck into. My final thoughts on this are like Darkman 2 and 3 should have been episodes for a TV series. This is a minimum budget for a series, in my opinion. The unaired pilot was very bad and cheap. Could be really cool if brought back. It's a cool idea. I think there's some talk of that, but Sam Raimi was talking about it. But you never know with Sam Raimi if or when he's going to get around to something like Kevin Smith style. So...
Yeah, unfortunately, like his last several movies, I haven't been a fan of. But he did make Ash vs. Evil Dead and directed the pilot, which I was a huge fan of. So,
yeah. What else has he done? I'm trying to think.
He's done the Marvel movies. He's done the Oz the Great and Powerful, which was awful.
It's also like with like anything like that though. Like I don't think. I mean, I'm sure he got some leeway on like the Oz movie, but how much from Disney were they really letting him do? And then same thing with like that Multiverse of Madness. It was like it felt somewhat like Sam Raimi, but in other times it was just like this doesn't really feel. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Did you watch that movie or no?
No.
Okay. It wasn't very good. But I think when he's able to do his own stuff, it's like really legit. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that if he were to come back and do like a Darkman thing, it would be pretty legit. Or like I don't know, it doesn't even have to be him.
Yeah, he already did it. Like I'm sure he has more original ideas.
Yeah, we'll see.
I would hope.
Darkman's legit. I mean, he's been doing Evil Dead. I mean, I feel like Darkman has just as much potential as fucking Evil Dead. Hell, they're making that new movie and it doesn't even have fucking Ash in it. I'm like, next. But
Evil Dead Rise. Coming in 2023.
Evil Dead, I won't be watching that film. So overall, Darkman, cool premise. I would love to see them do something with Darkman because it's a very cool idea, but I don't know how well it was received just in general by like people back in the day when it came out. And I mean, obviously it made direct-to-video sequels, but so did Highlander, and I don't really hear good things about those.
I like the first couple sequels to Highlander, and they went off the rails.
The second one was like pretty dog shit from what I remember.
It's a legendary bad movie.
But
it's got Sean Connery saying, "Hit it, dude."
Which makes it horrible. So, yeah, I mean, I guess just overall, what are your final thoughts on this?
I love Darkman.
Yeah.
I would say skip the sequels. If you're really on the fence, watch the third one, especially if you like Jeff Fahey, the Lawnmower Man himself. Because it's at least a different story than just repeating the same one like they did in the sequel. Sequel. So
if somebody put a gun to my head, I'd be like, just don't watch the second one. Like, you can maybe watch the
third one. Why would someone put a gun to your head and you would give them advice? I'm like, tell me what Darkman's to watch.
Well, why would you put a gun to anyone's head?
That's true. That's fine.
Because you're crazy. Yeah. I don't
want to see any more sequels or reboots. Like, Darkman as itself is a perfect movie, so, like, just watch it. It's great.
I disagree.
Fair enough.
I think there should be more Darkman.
Darkman.
Yeah. It's a Darkman. I just would like, maybe if it's not even that same thing, maybe if they did something that was like The Spirit or something, because I like the whole feel of that. But
cool.
We need more brooding kind of.
I'm Darkmaned out after this week.
We need more Batman stuff, kind of stuff.
No, we don't. There's enough Batman stuff out there.
Don't be an asshole. Batman's cool, damn it.
See our previous episode on The Batman.
That movie's still cooler than like half the shit they make.
Oh yeah, days. I agree. As we said in that episode.
Don't say that. People should go watch it. Batman is sexual. I like that. I like the look and the feel and the taste. The look, the feel, the taste. I just like that. Like what's it called? I don't know what that's called. Like the feel of like the city that's like really Art Deco, atmosphere. Art Deco, Gothic, like the Spirit or like Darkman or like that kind of feeling. I'd rather have I'd like to see that genre make a return of cool stuff. But I think sadly it's just gonna be Marvel movies till I die. So what are we watching next week?
Next week
you're Darkman 3.
We're gonna watch all of them again.
Darkman 4. I wrote one and filmed it last night.
Light Woman.
I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, okay. Light Woman.
We're gonna watch
Light Woman. Damn it. Okay, sorry.
We're gonna watch Working Girl from 1988 and the Working Girl pilot.
Is that a feature presentation?
That's the feature presentation, and then we're gonna watch
What's
the pilot.
What's it called? Working Girl.
Working Girl.
Okay, sorry.
It should be a lot of fun.
Oh, the pilot's also called Working Girl?
Yeah.
Okay. Working Girl Week.
Working Girl Week.
So, yeah, I guess thanks for joining us, guys. Check out Darkman and Darkman 3, but totally skip the pilot and Darkman 2. The Return of Durant. The Return of Bland. So, yeah.
Larry Drake, he's a fake. Not really. I thought he was fine. Just the movie sucked.
Yeah. He didn't need to come back ever.
No.
Should have left his ass in the fucking grave. Like the actor, not the character. I'm like, kill this man. Like, shit. So, yeah. Until next time. Thank you guys for watching. And, yeah.
Bye. Another great episode.
Yeah, man.
Felt like it just flew by.
I know, seriously, the time flies by when you're having fun. But actually, speaking of time, what's the time?
We've been recording for just over 9.95 minutes.
What? No.
No.
Ah, shit. Well, I guess the 9.95 barrier is. We just can't break it yet.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Well.
Like Durant.
Thank you.
We'll return next week.
Yes.